The weather will be crazy in December as a ton of snow will be coming to the United States. Some more severe weather will also be a possibility, and much colder weather will continue, especially over the next 10 to 14 days. So in today's forecast, we're going to break down exactly what you need to know about the weather that'll be impacting the United States over the next 7 to 10 days and what is ahead for the month of December. Let's begin with what the general weather pattern is going to be over the next couple of weeks, and it's quite an interesting one. This is something that we see a lot more often than not during the month of December, where we get these big dips in the jet stream, and this promotes two things: colder air out of Canada and also the potential for winter storms and also in some cases severe weather. Now in this case, over the next week or two, we are going to be dealing with several of these dips in the jet stream that is going to allow for both colder weather and as well as winter storms. Now as we go throughout the first week or two of December, we are going to continue to see a weather pattern that will penetrate cold air out of Canada with a northwesterly flow here in the jet stream. In addition to that, we are going to continue to see this diving down into areas like the Northeast United States, the Ohio Valley, the Midwest, and even parts of the East Coast, which is going to keep things a lot colder, especially east of the Great Plains throughout the first couple of weeks of December. And I think this weather pattern could continue until about December 10th or so, and then eventually as we get closer to the middle of December, things may start to change a little bit. But it does look like a good amount of snow will be coming, especially to areas in the northeastern part of the United States. So let's break this down in more detail for you, beginning with the temperature trends, and then we'll go more into the potential for snow and maybe even some severe weather. So let's begin with the overall temperature trends for the first week of December, and this is really between now all the way through Tuesday of next week. We are going to continue to see a cold air mass on the eastern tier of the United States, which will keep things obviously pretty cold over there, winter type standards. Warmer air is going to build back into areas near the Rocky Mountains, the west coast of the United States, where atmospheric rivers are taking a break, and then also through the Great Plains, things will start to warm back up again as we go into the middle of next week. Here's the thing: we are going to continue to see several shots of cold air coming right out of Canada, moving into the northeastern quadrant of the country, which is going to allow again for colder weather as we go into the end of next week and perhaps even as far out as December 10th or 11th. You'll see that colder air just continues here up and down the east coast of the United States, and it might be a while until things actually start to warm back up again back over in the northeast. Areas like New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New York, you name it, even the Ohio Valley, you're probably going to be staying pretty chilly here for the next couple of weeks. Now, these are the temperature anomalies right near the surface, so this will give you a better idea of if it'll be below or above average. Blues indicating below average, and then reds indicating above average. And you'll notice as we go into early next week, around December 3rd, that cold air mass will really start to intensify across the East Coast, and we'll also have the potential for record-breaking temperatures back over in areas like North and South Carolina, which means that those areas could be waking up to below freezing temperatures Tuesday morning. As we go into the middle and end of next week, we will start to warm back up again briefly around Thursday into Friday, but notice how there will be yet again another cold blast entering into the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, and this would be associated with a trough that would be just north of the Great Lakes. This also means the lake effect snow potential could last upwards of over a week here across the Great Lakes, and we'll be talking more about the lake effect snow here in just a second. And eventually, as we go into next weekend, around Saturday into Sunday, which is around December 8th, that cold air mass will continue to build across the east coast of the United States, and then things should get back closer to normal sometime around mid-December. But even then, things could definitely change, as that is obviously a long-term forecast. Now, the temperatures over the next few days is something that we can forecast with higher confidence, as it is more imminent, and this is as we go into Monday morning. The freezing line for actual temperatures will go as far south as areas like southern Alabama as we go into Monday morning. And Tuesday morning, not much different. Areas even maybe in far northern Florida could get near freezing, which means frost will at least be a possibility Tuesday morning. Wednesday and Thursday morning, things will start to warm back up again, and eventually as we go into next weekend, it will cool down once again back over in the eastern tier of the United States, especially along the Appalachian Mountains, and also back over to the northeast, including areas like New England. Now let's talk more about the potential for snow and winter storms across the United States as we go into the first couple of weeks of December, beginning with what's happening right now, which is actually quite interesting. We still have a trough that is spinning north of the Great Lakes, which is bringing a westerly and northwesterly flow, and it's actually already brought upwards of 2 to 3 feet of snow to some parts just to the southeast of Lake Erie due to lake effect snow. Same thing, by the way, over near Watertown, New York. This lake effect snow has just been crazy over the last 24 hours, and it will continue, by the way, all the way at least until Monday, but it could even go past that towards Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe even Thursday of next week. Another thing I want to point out, we have some snow that's moving across areas like Missouri and Kansas this morning, and this is actually going to bring some light to moderate snowfall to those areas this morning. The afternoon hours, it'll eventually move into Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and eventually dies out as it moves towards the Appalachian Mountains Sunday morning back over in West Virginia. As we go into early next week, you'll probably notice it's pretty quiet, right? Well, not necessarily. Again, we still got the lake effect snow that'll be happening back over in the Great Lakes on Tuesday, but here's really the next big thing. It'll be this right here. We're gonna have a clipper system developing back over in Canada, and how this exactly evolves does remain uncertain since it is still 4 to 5 days out. However, we do think that this could be our potential next winter weather event. I wouldn't necessarily say this will be our next winter storm yet, since it does not look overly intense, at least as of right now. But as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, this could become a problem back over in areas like the Great Lakes and perhaps back over in New England and also across the Northeast, where there could be some more snowfall. So something to watch for by the middle and end of next week. And the GFS model continues to show this trend where this will not just be the only system that comes through. We could even see yet again another winter weather event take place sometime next weekend. And by the way, don't get too caught up in the specific details, like if there will be freezing rain in the Ohio Valley or if there will be heavy snow moving into areas like Ohio as we go into Saturday of next weekend, because again, we don't really know yet. It's just a trend that the GFS model is showing that we're going to have several shots here of snow as we go into the early to middle portion of December. And the GFS continues to show this even as we go into the following week. It shows another shot of snow back over in the Midwest and maybe some sort of severe weather event. But for the time being, here's kind of what we do know. We do know that the weather pattern will likely stay somewhat active when it comes to chances for snow across the United States. Severe weather doesn't look to be a big concern for most of the country, at least for the next 7 to 10 days. I don't see anything that's imminent, but I do think we could see a ramp up of that as we get closer to the middle of December. And in addition to that, I do think there will be several chances for snow, especially in this part of the United States as we go throughout the first couple of weeks of December. Now, take this with a grain of salt, especially since that this is a 7 to 8 day outlook in terms of snowfall accumulation across the United States. But it does indicate that, again, the majority of the snowfall that does fall over the next week or so will likely be confined to areas like the Northern Plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, and Northeast. And again, exactly how much snow falls between, Tuesday of next week all the way through Saturday or Sunday of next weekend remains very uncertain, but it is definitely going to be something to watch for, again, for those in the Midwest and as well as the Ohio Valley. Now, events that are happening right now, like the lake effect snow event, are going to continue to dump tons of snowfall over the next couple of days. This is Saturday into Sunday. Heavy snowfall will continue with lake effect snow bands back over near Lake Erie and also back over near Watertown, New York here over the next 48 hours. And this is going to continue today. It'll also continue tomorrow. It will begin to lighten up a little bit as we go into tomorrow afternoon and evening. So things will start to simmer down a little bit, but the snow is going to continue. It might become a lot more confined, more localized, even more localized than it is currently, but it's going to continue, and it will probably continue even through Tuesday and Wednesday of this upcoming week. This is currently the snowfall accumulation that the HRRR model is picking up on right now for the next 48 hours, and notice that this is currently showing the potential for nearly 70 inches of snowfall just outside of Orchard Park, which, by the way, the Buffalo Bills are playing there Sunday night. So this is kind of crazy to think that, they're basically on the cusp right now of seeing some really significant snowfall accumulation. Back over near Watertown, New York, those areas are likely to pick up upwards of 40 to 55 inches of snow, again, just over the next 48 hours. That doesn't include what we've already seen. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this forecast, we do have a chance for some snow today and as well as into tomorrow morning across the lower Midwest and the Ohio Valley. It should be mostly light to moderate snowfall moving through areas like St. Louis this afternoon and as well as this morning. Eventually, as we go into tonight, the snow will be moving into areas like Kentucky, southern Ohio, southern Indiana, and Illinois, where there will be a chance for a coating to maybe a couple inches of snow if you're lucky, and then eventually as it moves towards the Appalachian Mountains, it will begin to fizzle out. So over the next 24 to 48 hours, most of the snowfall, again, going to be confined to a very thin but narrow corridor from Kansas City back over into Kentucky. Again, these numbers, in my opinion, slightly high for areas like Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio. I don't know if we're all going to see between a coating to 2 inches of snow, but I do think it's a chance for some areas that pick up some of the more moderate snowfall that falls. Back over near St. Louis, I do think there's a good chance by the end of today that there will be some areas around 2 to even upwards of 4 inches of snowfall. And just a heads up, this is the last sale of the year on shopmaxvelocity.net, which is the top link in the description below. For any of our merch, like our Happy Holidays collection, our Flying Trampolines merch, Drunk NATO merch, or even our Max Velocity collection, watching. These are all available again with the top link in the description below. Use code Cyber Monday with no spaces for $5 off on $50 or more. And just a heads up, December 10th is the last date that you can get any merch that will be delivered with standard shipping in the United States before Christmas. So make sure that you are ordering it as soon as possible so you can get it before Christmas if it's a present or even a stocking stuffer. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe if you've not already.